you joking? Get out! Get out! Get out! Out! Well, guys, it's time for another shoe review. What the heck? How are you? I'm sorry it's been so long, but normally you look up a shoe, there's already a review for it. Why would I put out a review for a shoe somebody's already done a review for it? You already have the knowledge. I will say, though, most people's reviews are sorely lacking when it comes to information on the sizing. So whoever's making those videos, can you please just post your whole foot? Post your whole foot. And measurements. Anyways. Now, if you're watching this video, it means you're interested in looking at a pair of Boston Crosstowns by Birkenstock. These are Birkenstocks. And they're like I don't want to say the viral clogs, because that's what Instagram ads seem to be calling them now. And you can get a pair for probably $12 on Temu. But real ones have been wearing the Bostons for time. And they are a great shoe, although I will say the city streets really chew them up. Hold on a sec, I'll show you my pair of Bostons. This is my pair of Bostons. I've had these for maybe a year and a half to 2 years, which honestly, you can see that the bottom, to use the technical term for the shoe, the bottom is starting to get smooth. Now that's because I've been walking in these on sidewalk and stuff. These are great shoes. They're super comfortable. I've actually coated the back of the cork a couple of times because that does wear down. But the great thing about these shoes is that you can maintain them, whereas a lot of other shoes, you know, there's no repairability to them. And you can actually repair these. Some people argue that it's not really worth doing that because the repairs cost almost as much as just getting a new pair of these. But I would say if you're somebody who is interested in not wasting stuff, or maybe have a sentimental connection to your pair of shoes, as some of us do, you know, build over time, I certainly wouldn't want to just throw away a pair of shoes because the outsole was worn down. But you can see that it does happen. So the solution to maybe the Boston not being so suitable for the city is this rugged rubber outsole. And what I will say is that it's good. So these came in the mail. I got them on sale. Normally I think they're about $230 on Birkenstock's site. I got these through a third party and they were on sale for $165. So I was like, crazy deal. I hemmed and hawed for about a week before buying these because I just thought they were honestly a way to save the pair of Bostons that I already know and love and not put so much you know, rugged wear on them while also being able to wear a Boston out and about. So these have kind of, the old ones have kind of become like a more close to home, you know, going down to the laundry room, maybe, you know, if you're hopping in the car, you know, you're not going to be walking a whole bunch, you use these. But if you're out in the city streets, you still want something, you know, you can slip on. If you're like me, it's been really hot in the summertime. I haven't actually wanted to wear socks, so, you know, judge me if you will. But I've been ripping these, no socks. Have been developing a few blisters, you know, on the old cankles, but that's just a sacrifice I'm willing to make, and I will put myself through the pain of getting used to wearing these without socks, because they are, I will say, just as comfortable as the normal Bostons. They are a little bit heavier, but not you know, to their detriment. You know, obviously there's more material, they're going to be slightly heavier. You can definitely feel that the bottom is a little harder as well, but again, it's not something that makes the shoe uncomfortable. And I'm just showing you the back of the heel here to show you the wear of about a week of use. And you can see the rubber is actually quite durable. I tend to really scuff the inside of my heel as I walk. Let me confirm that. Sorry, it's the outside. I tend to scuff the outside of my heel as I walk, but you can see none of that scuffing is visible right now after a week of wear. Obviously, that's not very long. You can see also the leather does tend to take on some scratches, but they do kind of wipe out, buff out in time, and I am hoping to kind of develop a bit of like a patina on the surface of the shoes. I'll probably treat them with some type of leather coating as it gets a little soggier outside in the coming months. But obviously, I will also coat the cork. I'm probably going to do that fairly soon, just preemptively, because that is one thing I notice about the Birkenstocks is that the cork coating does wear down. I don't want to say quickly, but steadily. That's what I like about the shoes. I am a size 11 and a half. My foot kind of fluctuates from my foot is like 28 and a half to 29 centimeters. Let's say that, okay? So it's an 11 and a half in most shoe sizes. I see a lot of people saying size up on these shoes. I have a pretty narrow foot. I get the regular width, and I'll actually say that I'm wearing a 43. I'm wearing a 43. That's, according to Birkenstock's measurements, 280 millimeters. I find this comfortable. My foot is not floating around as much as I think some people describe, but I don't have any toe scuffing. I'm putting them on my feet right now. Imagine that. Just use your imagination. I don't have any toe scuffing. I find that my heel is not scuffing as much as if I had a larger shoe on. I don't actually feel my toes clawing to hold on to the shoe with some other clogs that you might find. I know that Birkenstock has like a bit of an ergonomic toe hold on the inside footbed, which is good, but apart from just what feels natural, I'm not trying to keep the shoe on my foot. It just stays there. So I will say that make your own judgment call on sizing. I've tried to be as thorough and as descriptive as possible when it comes to sizing for you. This is my foot. I'm going to get flamed in the comments. If you're watching this, flame me in the comments for doing that. But I will say I have chosen to, and this is over experience. I've had other pairs of Birkenstocks in the past and gambled and won, apparently. And now I can compare my other Birkenstock purchases to this one. So I've actually gone with closer to my size versus sizing up for that just in case it doesn't fit occurrence. But normally I would probably be wearing a 44 or a 44 and a half in Euro sizing for most shoes. But the 43 works well on me. So if you have a narrow to regular width foot, and you're an 11 and a half, I actually have found success with, not to beat it to death, but the 43, which I believe is actually like a 10 if you convert it. But I don't know. Shoe sizing increasingly is getting more and more inconsistent, I think. My favorite footwear designer is actually Crocs. I think they come out with the best designs. Birkenstocks as well, especially their higher end stuff. Really, they do have like some great products. But to go back to Crocs, their sizing is super inconsistent. Some models might be an 11, and then the 11 is actually 12 in another size, and then or a 10 in another size. Like between the models, the sizing changes quite a lot, I find. And one thing that I think Birkenstocks does really well is that between these two pairs of shoes, they are the exact same size. And I don't feel a difference when I put them on. And that goes for, I have a pair of Kyotos as well. If you stand by, I'll go get those. These are the Kyotos. Oh my god, look at how worn those toes have worked themselves into the leather. What a beautiful patina, well worn. Anyways, again, flame me in the comments. I don't care. I love this color. These ones have gotten significantly less wear, although this blue suede really takes on damage quickly. And I probably have been wearing these in like dumb situations, which allowed them to get dirty. But I will say, like, this is just to illustrate the sizing for this and the sizing for these It's the exact same. I think it's because they probably just have the same footbed and they build around it. Whereas Crocs are molded, so you're getting a little bit of a different last or a different mold each time. Whereas these are built on the same exact surface, and it's just what we're surrounding the rest of the material with. So maybe that's why they're more consistent. But either way, I appreciate that about Birkenstocks because it makes my life easier when I'm shopping for them. And Birkenstocks does have some kind of flashy variations. Everybody's been going on about the it's like a Boston, but it's got no buckle and it's like fully wrapped. I think it's called like the starts with an A. Amsterdam? Hopefully. I'm not going to fact check that, so we're going to just call it that. They are coming out with flashier mules. I think the mules and the clogs are definitely a winner. I like them a lot, and they become more a part of my rotation because I love wearing slip-ons, and even my normal sneakers I end up using as slip-ons because I just kind of tie them loosely and then yam them on my feet when I'm ready to go. But during the summertime, it's because I live in the city, as you can see, when I'm out in public, on the sidewalk, in busy spaces. That's just me. No judgment if you do like to have the dogs out in the city streets. Shout out to you. One day I'll get there. I didn't always use public bathrooms either, but I had to graduate, so maybe I'll get to that level. But for now, I like to keep my foot a little more protected. So that's why I'm converted to the mules, and I think that this mule is the best city mule that I have seen. I like these brown colors as well. I think they're great because, as you saw with the blue is really nice, and it's really popping on camera. But as you can see from where I will unstrap it for you, the blue has really lost a lot of its vibrancy and not that much wear because obviously they're shoes, they're close to the ground, they take on dirt. With these Mocha Bostons, you can't tell because if anything, the color just gets richer the more you dirty them up. And I have cleaned these, and they still can look fresh if you give them a wipe. But same with this. Like, this is not actually a suede. It's I don't want to say a tumbled leather, but it is like a smooth leather. You can see the suede on the inside. So they've used the inverse side of the leather for this. Compared to the Boston, so they're not holding on and gripping on as much dirt as like the suede would, but still, even if they do get a little dirty with time, as I would anticipate they will, they're a nice kind of brownish color, so they're not gonna look super scuzzy. I'm trying to think of what other people might ask in the comments so that I can just give you the info now, but that's pretty much what it is. I haven't adjusted the buckles from the box. You do have a little bit of customization there if maybe you got skinny ankles or something, you want to tighten it up. But I haven't had to fiddle with that at all. They do fit with socks as well as without socks. So that was a concern of mine. I'm like, maybe they'll fit without socks, but not with socks. I have tried these with both socks and no socks, and they work. So that just illustrates the sizing. I do have enough room to comfortably wear these with socks on, as well as no socks, and I'm wearing a size down from what I would normally be wearing. A size and a half if we're looking at the US sizing template. But I wouldn't go with that with Birkenstocks. I would be a little bit mindful that you might be able to shave a half size off of here and then some. It's going to depend on you. Please don't quote me on that. I've given you my measurements and I've told you what I wear. Do your math accordingly. The helpful thing about Birkenstocks when you do order them is that when you get them, sorry, I was using this box to stash some pottery that I made. When you get them, they come with a measuring chart. So you can see that the sizing for, what did we say my foot was? 280 millimeters. That's a 43 EU, and it's US men's 10. Okay, in US men's 10. Bam. All right. So you can see, I would normally, if we had gone true to size here, I would be wearing a 45, because they don't do half sizes past a certain point in these, or they don't do half sizes at all, actually. Not if you're going by US sizing. So they do have half sizes in UK sizing, but nobody looks at UK sizing. So if you're in the UK, shout out to you, no problem with you, but you know, you guys are like the last type of sizing we're going to be checking out. I'm going EU or I'm going US. But the best way, I think, is going off the straight millimeters, because that is the closest you're going to get. But I digress. Measure your feet and use this as a reference guide. I'm going to, boom. This is probably super valuable to people who haven't bought their first pair of Birkenstocks yet. So screenshot that and zoom in on it. You're welcome. I am worried because I haven't seen any reviews on these, and I don't really see people wearing them or talking about them, and I see them on sale, or saw a couple pairs of them on sale. I'm worried that these will get discontinued. I hate when shoes get discontinued, especially the ones that I like, and it seems like all the shoes that I really like get discontinued, so that will be sad, but at least I'll have a pair, and I think they'll last a long time, and I'm going to try to treat these right, you know, because we want to make them last as long as possible, and that is the whole reason why they have taken the place, in some instances, I'm not breaking up with my Bostons, but they've taken the place of the instances where I would be out for a longer day in the city, you know, on harder surfaces that are just more abrasive for the soft, you know, kind of chewy bottom of the Bostons. And my girlfriend's pair, shout out my beautiful love, who we have matching pairs of these. Hers are completely chewed through, and I saw my future in her shoes, and I said I don't want to get to that level. So might I add, by the way, I said let me get these after a lot of deliberation, and she was not a fan. She did not like these. She thought they were not cool. You let me know if you think they're cool. I think they're pretty cool. They're like a sci-fi version of, you know, a kind of classic shoe. These kind of are reminiscent of like a medieval peasant shoe, you know, with the suede and just the simple shape and the buckle. You know, this might be the sci-fi version of that. I like that concept. I like the idea of taking natural materials and then slamming some modern design onto it. And I think this is a really tasteful version of that. So you not only have my sizing analysis, but you also have my styling analysis. And I have been wearing these with no socks, with shorts, mostly to the gym. So it's athletic wear. I'm also wearing my jiu-jitsu pants, my gi pants. And I think those look very swaggy with these. I see people looking at me on the train. They're probably wondering why I've got strange pants on. But perhaps they also like my strange shoes. So hopefully I'm looking strange in the streets. That is the goal. I appreciate you watching this video. I will upload it to YouTube, I promise. It's probably way too long, but if you made it through, shout out to you. And one more time, for my beautiful fans. And thanks for watching. Also, I'm not that good at video editing. I'm doing this on my iPad and iMovie, so my bad on that. But I will include some other footage of the shoes, as well as me stepping around in them in the streets. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys. Maybe stay tuned for that. I don't know which chronological direction to point in because this is probably gonna get flipped. But anyways, I will put those clips to come. So thank you and goodbye. Also, sorry, I realized I never really did like a full body shot. So here. Hopefully that helps.